Hi everyone, it's David from Automotive Press. Guess what I have behind me? This is the ultra flagship model from Lexus. Not just a Lexus LX, but this is a Lexus LX hybrid, which now comes with a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 with a hybrid system. This thing is a monster in terms of power and torque. Same engine that's used in Toyota Tundra TRD Pro and also in the Sequoia as well. But now we have it in the LX. It's got so much more power and torque that it really transformed this vehicle, because it's also the first time we have an OverTrail version of the Lexus LX. So this is the LX 700H. What an exciting vehicle. I love it. I'm going to tell you everything about this vehicle in a second in terms of exterior quality, interior and driving character as well. But also keep in mind that this is not produced in the same plant as the Lexus GX, which is built in Tahara plant in Japan. This is a bit unique because the LX, along with the Land Cruiser 300 series, which is not sold in North America, are built in Yoshiwara plant in Japan. So it's kind of like a low volume, kind of customized factory, and that's where the LX is built. It's literally hand built in many ways. So different vibe and a feel in terms of manufacturing quality and manufacturing mentality compared to the high volume Toyota 4Runners and Land Cruisers and also Lexus GX as well. So let me do my exterior quality check. We'll check the inside as well. Go for a drive, and I'm going to tell you if I like this beast or not. You probably know the answer to that question already. Let's go. Welcome back. So we have the Lexus LX 700H OverTrail, beautiful vehicle, flagship of the flagship. Let's see how good the quality is. Once again, it's built in Japan. This is built in Yoshiwara plant, which is kind of like a custom low volume factory. Let's take a look at the gap and see if it's any different from Tahara built vehicles. So the gap in the front here is 3.5 millimeter, 3.8 millimeters, and this is something that's a bit unusual about Yoshiwara factory. Is hand built, really high quality, long-term reliability. But when it comes to panel gaps, it's actually not as good as Tahara plant vehicles like the Lexus GX. As you can tell, the gaps are a bit wider. In the GX 550, the gaps are closer to 3 millimeter. This one is a bit wider here, and even between front fender and the front door is 3.7 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter, and one more here at the end, 3.5 millimeters. So even though the alignment is perfect and the gaps are very consistent, it is definitely a little bit wider than what you'll find in Tahara built cars. Some people say that the gap's a little bit wider, so that will allow for the hood to jiggle a little bit when they go through some serious off-roading, because the Land Cruiser 300 series, which shares a platform with this one, are true off-roaders, and they use that in Middle East and elsewhere for some serious off-the-course driving. And some people say the hood needs to move a little bit, and therefore the gap's a little bit wider. I'm not going to really buy into that. I think, generally speaking, narrower the gap, better quality, I think. But it's more to do with the fact that Tahara factory is more of a high volume factory with a very precision equipment, and they can pump out high volumes of Lexus models with a very high precision and also very low tolerance. I don't think Yoshiwara has the same capability, just because it's a custom built factory, much lower volume, mostly hand built in some ways, and therefore the stamping and all the pieces of the metals here maybe have a little bit wider tolerance. It has nothing to do with long-term reliability or overall quality. It's still perhaps the best built vehicle in the world, but the gap's a little bit wider. What about the actual paint thickness? Let's take a look. All right, now let's check the paint thickness. As you know, I want the paint thickness to be between 100 to 150 microns. That's pretty well the standard, and for most Toyota cars and even Lexus cars are usually around 100 to 120 microns. I like thicker paint because that provides more durability, especially if you're driving gravel roads and so forth. And also thicker paint means that they might have had extra layer of clear coat or additional layer of paint compared to other models or other vehicles. So let's take a look at this one here. So first in the hood, it's 185 micron. That's again quite a bit thicker than other brands and other models. 153 microns, and a couple more here. Front door 146, and last one 142. So it is definitely about 20-25% thicker than other kind of standard Lexus / Toyota models. This is the special color called the Earth. So I assume a couple of things. One is that paint is a little bit thicker in most Lexus models anyway, but also they might have an extra layer of paint. I believe there's an extra layer or thicker layer of the clear coat on this Lexus LX models. There is a different spec and standard for Lexus models compared to Toyota models. So even if you compare the Land Cruiser 300 series to the Lexus LX, I assume that the LX will have a thicker paint, and that's a good thing. I do really like the paint job. I'm not a big fan of this earth color, but it looks good in this OverTrail because it fits with the character and image of this particular model as an OverTrail, as an overlanding vehicle. And of course, the paint quality is absolutely top notch. It doesn't really matter where Lexus models are built, whether it's the Hara, Yoshiwara, or Kyushu plant, or even here in Canada. The paint quality is always going to be better than what you see in Toyota models, and it shows through here because it's really near perfection. Almost no orange peel, just a little bit here, but actually almost none. So paint quality is excellent. The body fit and finish and alignment looks really good. All the plastic components, perfect fit. There's very little gap here, almost no gap. And it's really also very difficult to match the paint between the body and the plastic molding bumpers and so forth. But as you can tell, the paint match is also perfect. Each of these plastic components also looks really well made. All the components looks absolutely fantastic. I love the exterior as well. It's got the real vibe as an off-roader. Now let's take a look inside to see if I like it and whether or not it is also well built. All right, so we're looking at the interior of the new LX 700H, and of course it shares the same interior as the normal Lexus LX, but there are some differences. For example, you get darkened kind of black open pore wood, and some of the accents on the seats are a little bit different. So really beautiful interior. I wouldn't expect anything less than world class coming out of a Lexus LX, coming out of a Yoshiwara plant factory. There is a two-tier system. There's an infotainment system on the top and another small panel over here as well, and then you have a digital cluster. And I'm not super crazy about this setup. It is unique to Lexus LX compared to, let's say, Lexus GX, which has one large 14-inch panel, but it's a very classic Lexus feel to it, with wood, with aluminum look finishes. Thankfully, very little glossy black, and it's just tastefully done. I think is really beautiful interior. Do I like it better than Lexus GX? Well, it just looks more luxurious. Everything from the grab handles to the dash to the interior design, it just looks really, really premium. Of course, there's leather all over the place. Even the dash has stitching and so forth. So no question that it's an upgrade compared to GX. It is also much more expensive than the GX, but interior is beautiful. The seats are very comfortable. I really like this two-tone finish on the OverTrail model. And maybe about the only complaint I have, again, is a bit of an ergonomics situation. I do get the big buttons and everything, but I don't like two-tiered infotainment / display system. And some of the controls on the door panels here, especially the power window switches, are a little bit hidden behind the grab handles. Like here, it's hard to see, but it's kind of hidden behind here. It makes it a little bit difficult to access all the switches, but once again, everything looks premium. You get a nice covered overhead here as well. The back seat into the second seat is also very roomy. You do get a third seat in this Lexus LX, even though it's a hybrid, which is interesting because there's not much space out there. I'll show you in a second. So you wouldn't probably want to use a third seat other than for kids or just to store some stuff. So let me show you the back quickly. So I just opened the hatch over here, and you can tell it's a decent amount of space, but because of the hybrid battery, they have this kind of shelf over here. Also, because of the third seat, this thing is really high up. There is a third seat over here. You can't really see it very well, but it's just not very usable. I don't think it's all that roomy. Almost no point in having a third seat, to be honest. There's an option to buy the LX 700H with no third seat, and that's what I would recommend because I don't really think that's usable anyway. But in terms of overall fit and finish, how everything fits together, of course, it's absolutely first class. It's world class. I have no complaints about that. And unlike the 4Runner, the rear window does not open and close. That's a unique feature to the 4Runner. Either way, is it roomier than the GX? Actually, the GX and LX are almost exactly the same size, so there's not a huge difference in terms of interior. Just looking at it briefly in the back seat does look a little bit roomier, but not by much. But overall, of course, this is a big truck, big body on the frame SUV based on same TNGA-F platform as others, but has the beautiful 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 engine with the hybrid. I really like that engine a lot. It makes you feel like a V8. even though it's not a V8, and it's got so much power and torque. Is very usable at low RPM as well. So beautiful engine. So let me just take it for a drive and give you my take on what I think of the driving character. All right, so I now have the LX on the road. I've been driving it for a little while, and of course the first impression that comes to my mind is ultra luxury, ultra premium. I've driven many cars, many Lexus. You guys know I also own many Lexus models, but when you drive the LX, there is that sense of premium, the sense of upscale feel that is not quite the same as all the other models. Now the Lexus GX 550 comes pretty close, and I really like that vehicle for that reason, but still there's something kind of special and unique about the LX driving experience. Well, for one thing, you have the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 with a hybrid with a tremendous and phenomenal torque output, which happens at low RPM. So you step on it, it just takes off. It's got the kind of grunt feel and a really good acceleration, which we don't get in the Lexus GX 550 because it doesn't have the hybrid option, not yet anyways, and therefore the power is still pretty good on the GX and still really strong torque output, but you still can't compare it to this one, which has tremendous power and torque. I can step on it like this and just takes off, just like in the Tundra or Sequoia. Same engine, similar output, and therefore it feels a little bit similar, but it does feel a little bit softer and a little bit more premium in this LX as expected. So I really enjoy it. It feels really luxurious, very silky, very quiet, super refined, and even when you step on the gas like this, yeah, absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. It's really quiet, even at highway speed, which is what I'm doing right now. Brakes feel solid. The steering is a little bit light, but actually, you know what? It has a pretty good feedback. Maybe even a little bit better than the GX 550 OVERTRAIL. It's a little hard to say. I have to have them back to back. I think it's very similar, but it has a pretty good feel, and the steering feels a little bit tighter. I believe they made some adjustment to the steering mechanism and calibration and suspension and so forth. Obviously, this is OVERTRAIL model, so it does have a different suspension. The regular Lexus LX also has an off-road tire, open country by Toyo. So basically the whole suspension system and the drivability is different from a normal Lexus LX, which I consider to be too light and just too kind of numb for my taste. But this one has a better road feel. I really sense that they made some adjustment to the whole steering system and calibration for the suspension and so forth. So it feels a little bit more solid, a little bit better feedback, and it feels good. Like, it's just a beautiful vehicle to drive. I'm sure that a lot of people who might buy this vehicle, especially in Asia and Middle East, are using it to chauffeur people around, so they'll be in the back seat. But even for the driver, this feels good, and I would definitely take this over the other Lexus LX models just because it has a little bit more character to it, and the suspension feels really solid as well. Now, when I'm taking these little curvy roads, is it going to manage them okay? Well, let me just show you quickly here what's going on. So I'm making some quick turns here, and as you can tell, it handles really well. So you might think because it's an OVERTRAIL with off-road suspension that you'll be too soft and cushy. Actually, that's not true. I think it handles the corners really well. It feels even more stable than normal LX, if that's even possible. So overall, I'm super impressed with this LX 700H. Obviously, it's way more expensive than GX 550 OVERTRAIL, even compared to the top-of-the-line Plus model. So you really have to want LX to buy this one. It's a very small volume. Only a specialized customers will buy something like this, upwards of $160,000 Canadian here. So it's not for everyone. But if you have the money, or if you don't mind spending this amount of money, and you want the best of the best, and you want the LX to be also capable in terms of off-roading and be able to drive fast in, let's say, gravel or in a desert climate, well, this is the best vehicle you can buy. So I can see why in the Middle East and elsewhere, this vehicle will be in high demand, because not only are you getting the Lexus level of quality and Lexus level of features, you're also getting this new V6 with a twin turbo and hybrid system, and you have the capability of an off-roader. So everything combined together, it's a match made in heaven. So I really love this vehicle. I wish I could buy it. It's definitely out of my price range. I think the Lexus GX OVERTRAIL Plus is more in line with my budget, but at some point, maybe down the road, if I can find a used one, I would definitely move up from GX to LX if that is possible sometime in the future. So I hope you enjoyed my video. It's raining really hard now, but it's a beautiful ride. I got a long drive to go, and it's just an amazing vehicle to drive and to get a ride in. And yeah, if you can afford it, this is the one you need to get. I love it, and maybe at some point I'll be able to own it. If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up, make some comments, and if you haven't done so yet, would you kindly subscribe as well. Until next video, I'm signing off for now. Thank you so much.